Today, this day of action all over Florida and all over the country, we stand with Stoneman Douglas and everyone who's had a tragedy. We're speaking up for sensible gun laws. And never again is the perfect hashtag.
It's a national day against gun violence in schools. We need change. I'm out here because of the kids. It's very important to me.
My way of coping is working, and we're all working in conjunction. The teachers support us as activists.
The kids from Parkland were able to take something from this tragedy. They are showing that voices matter, lives matter. It's overwhelming that it's not just Broward County.
My future is not going to be there if America doesn't fix this gun violence. I wanted to stand up for what I believed in.
A lot of my students have had personal experiences with gun violence. I just felt like it was necessary for me to support them.
That I can be actually killed during school hours where I'm here to get my education and learn, it really scares me.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
3 years ago, I found some pretty deplorable conditions in the school. We established a partnership with Houston Federation of Teachers. That was where community schools started.
The AFT Innovation Fund grant has allowed us to build capacity.
By working with a broad array of community partners, we were going to end up with more highly effective schools.
Durkee is clearly a hidden gem in the community schools movement. Everywhere you turn, these students are being told they matter.
There's fresh air, and I like to see the flowers and the pretty colors.
Parents have noticed what's going on here that actually want to move their kids to this school.
You can transform a downtrodden, forgotten school into what we're making right now.
The People Project!
A union-led grassroots effort that is really going to change the future of St. Lawrence County.
The People Project has 3 working groups: community schools, economic development, and health and wellness, with a focus on our opioid addiction problem.
Aaron explained about the People Project, and we just thought it was a perfect opportunity to give back, to get involved, and shine up all those things that we know are so great about the area.
With the support of the AFT, our community has come together through our Pathways to Prosperity initiative to provide Peoria's youth with more opportunities.
The business world, politicians, union people have all come together to provide internships for public school students. That's what I'm most proud of with the program.
Thank you for taking a seed grant and creating such opportunity with it.
The first book partnership is like a dream. Just think about it. 5 million kids have books that they can take home and keep. That's very important to me. Have mothers come and see the bright face when we hand them a book.
To give books away really tells the story of us as support workers, because we really do support. Get them to love to read, and then they're on their way.
Thank you, Mama, for bringing them.
Every child in the school is going to receive a book. Reading, to me, is the key to life. If you can understand that, what you've read, no one can take that away from you. And then their parents will be able to see it. Community people, they're going to be saying, where did you get that from? So I think that's really, really good for us here. I'm loving that these children are now going to have a book when they walk out of the school for the summer to immediately start reading. That's going to be beautiful.
The historic Rollins School in Lawrence up in flames.
It's pretty devastating before Christmas. There was significant damage, particularly to some of the classrooms.
It was really heartbreaking to see the school close down.
We've been rehoused on the other side of town. The union has been very supportive, and I think that helped ease a lot of our panic.
Oh, look at this! The fact that they can get these backpacks and these books donated and being able to bring them home, and it's phenomenal, because they wouldn't be able to have them otherwise.
That's incredible!
The children come to the Lawrence Public Schools to live the American dream. And I'm so proud that my union supports communities like Lawrence.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
For 7 years now, we have presented the AFT Everyday Hero Award to AFT members who were nominated by their peers for their daily but often unrecognized efforts in the workplace and in their union. This year, given the unprecedented number of challenges, ranging from hurricanes and other national disasters to violence in school, to disinvestment in our public infrastructure services, schools, and healthcare facilities, we will be honoring AFT members throughout the convention who rose to the occasion, often under the extreme conditions, making personal sacrifice to care, fight, and show up for our communities and our profession, and to assist those in need. Our first AFT Hero Award goes to a union family who volunteers their time and expertise to leave their homes and families and jobs to travel to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands to help them recover and rebuild after the Hurricane Irma and Maria. I'd like to invite the nurses, the healthcare professionals, and public employees who are part of these delegations to come up on the stage now to watch the video of them in action.
As we landed, I didn't recognize my own island, the devastation, the hunger, the thirst. None of us that came here hesitated even for a minute. We went out and we did the job that other people didn't.
We ran pop-up clinics, went door to door looking for people that needed things.
Our team has been dedicated to reaching out into the hill country. These areas have been devastated.
We're so incredibly grateful to just have somebody here. They feel like they've been forgotten.
We found seniors living in homes without roofs.
There was a man, the roof had gone out. There's water dripping in and it rains every afternoon.
When you have a disaster like this, they haven't had antibiotics, they haven't had their diabetic medicine.
You show us who we can be as people.
There was a map that showed all the different places they had been. They often said they were the first one that people in the village had seen. That's who our nurses are, remarkable individuals.
We've had an impact. It's been a wonderful and heartbreaking experience.
We've been able to prevent diseases and some pretty serious health situations from becoming worse.
AFT, baby, good!
These 2 weeks have changed my life. What I believe our bigger mission is to come back and to raise that awareness.
St. Thomas and St. Croix have a lot of damage. They've basically been forgotten.
Just got off the plane, ready to help the children.
One of the most important jobs of a school nurse is to make sure that all children can see well and hear well so that they can learn.
Early reading skills, phonology, language development can be hugely impacted if there's any kind of moderate to severe hearing loss. People are working hard and they're dedicated and they really want to make something happen, which I think is fantastic.
I feel like there's a lot of kids that haven't ever had classes or they broke.
They are so nice and appreciative.
Yeah.
The goal between St. Thomas and St. Croix, I think, is about 10,000 students.
Extremely honored to be a part of this, knowing that I'm making a difference for our young people that have just been through so much devastation.
Hi, thank you.
They're really sweet and we want to make sure they can hear and they can see and whatever other equipment we can get here.
Parents are happy that the children are receiving hearing screening and the vision screening. Bring things back to normal as much as possible.
Thank you so very much for this. It's going to go a long way.
Healthcare nurses.
I said this yesterday in my speech, but I was there at the tail end when they were in Puerto Rico for 2 weeks, and what they saw, this is the United States of America. No person should be going through what they saw because of the lack of preparation by our government, by FEMA, for the failure to understand that a Hurricane 5 hurricane is a Hurricane 5 hurricane. Thank you so much for saving lives and for giving people hope in darkness. Thank you. We are back in session. And as someone came up to me earlier, I should have said we were recessed, not that we were adjourned to the afternoon. So we were recessed. Now, I would like the choir director and Ida Diaz to come up with me before I introduce our next very, very special guest from the great state of Massachusetts. But could Mighty Morales Fro come up on stage with me with Ida Diaz? So, look, you've heard this amazing chorus, and you've seen the story. And what you don't know is that these kids have been practicing weekends, evenings with this amazing choral director for several months. Now, Mighty, when she landed in Pittsburgh with her students, she got a letter from the Secretary of Education of Puerto Rico, Julia Kelleher. Now, Julia was a consultant, not a school teacher, but a consultant for Arnie Duncan in the Department of Education. Oh my God, you can do better than that. But that means, you know, every time we say Betsy DeVos's name, I don't even have to finish that sentence. So she's not a school teacher. She's a bureaucrat who happens to know numbers. And Mighty, who is a school teacher and a musician extraordinaire, in a school that is staying open, with a chorus that will still be there. This 18-year tenured teacher, I know she looks like she's 20, but this 18-year tenured teacher was told in a letter when she got off the plane that she was going to be assigned to a new school next month, despite the fact that her school is not being closed. And like everything Julia Keller has done this year, she didn't give a reason why why Mighty was being moved. She never talked to our union to work out the way to avoid disrupting the lives of students or teachers. It's not, I wanted to put this human face on it, because it's not just teachers that are being hurt in Puerto Rico. There are 400 schools that have been closed in the last year. This action to Mighty, this action to thousands of teachers is hurting tens of thousands of students who depend on their teachers. Mighty is one of the hardest working teachers I know. As I said, they have been working evenings and weekends to prepare for this. And I hope you agree with me just how inspiring and how amazing they are. And they are trying to return to normalcy, which is what the families in Puerto Rico want. And what the person who has been opposing them step after step after step is Julia Kelleher, who's been imposing a series of failed policies that have been tried in the States and have failed, and we know that they will fail miserably in Puerto Rico. So ANPR and AFT are fighting on the ground. But I want you to take a minute and ask, just like we stood up for the Vermont nurses, just like we are standing up in so many other situations, we need to stand up for Mighty and the thousands of Puerto Rican teachers and students who are dealing with this chaos. Microphone 3. State your name and local.
Good afternoon, buenos dias. Evelyn de Jesus, AFT Vice President, Local 2. As a vice president that's been working with Puerto Rico for 1.5 years, and as a Puerto Rican, I request that everyone in this auditorium take out your cell phones and let's use the power of tweeting. Let's tweet to Julia Kellner and let her know, as this t-shirt says, basta ya, meaning enough is enough. Let her know that she cannot get away with this. And when Puerto Rico stands, America stands. That AFT stands, ANPR stands. We're together as one. So please, take out your phones and let's tweet to Julia Kellner. Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you for my students. Thank you.
This way we get you all on Twitter. No, keep it up for a second.
Don't tweet that fast.
We can have another drinking game if you want. How many of these paper clips will I mangle as I stand up at the podium?
Is that debatable?
That's not debatable, and it doesn't take a 2/3 vote. So, I'm going to ask our Massachusetts folks to come up here so that we have a circle. Beth, come with me. All of you, circle around us.
Okay, come on, guys. Come on. Where's Jessica?
There's Jessica. Beth Contos, who is the new president of AFT Mass, is to my left. And Jessica Tang, who is the not-so-new president of the Boston Teachers Union, is to my right. And then we have a whole bunch of other fantastic educators from the great state of Massachusetts. So, our next speaker has worked and is working hand in hand with us on many issues. She is a fierce fighter for students, for the working class and for the middle class. And she is as brilliant a teacher as she is fierce fighter. Senator Warren has spent her entire career taking on those who use their wealth and power to rig our economy. And she fights every day and strives every day to make life better for people. Look, the people of Massachusetts know her. You know her as a senator. Probably most of you know her as a senator, as an activist. But you may not know that she started her career in a classroom as a public school elementary teacher and then became a lawyer and a professor. As a law professor, Senator Warren used her expertise in bankruptcy law to protect the rights of consumers, During the Obama administration, she envisioned, it was her idea, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which helped millions of Americans get restitution after being defrauded and scammed by bad actors in the finance industry. And it has been the #1 objective of Donald Trump and Nick Mulvaney to try to destroy the CFPB. She is the leading voice for college affordability for low and middle income families, and she has used her position in the Senate to hold student loan companies like Navient accountable. Since 2014, since 2014, the AFT has worked with her closely on our Higher Ed Not Debt campaign, and we have supported her efforts for student loan forgiveness, free community college, and debt-free education. We are so grateful that she is our thought partner on how to fight the student debt crisis that is crushing opportunities of many, and even many more of our members and young adults in not only our union, but throughout the country. She's championed recovery efforts in Puerto Rico. She's criticized the plans to close schools. She's fought for investment. She was one of the first to condemn the Janus Supreme Court decision, and I quote, as I did before, she said, before the ink was dry on that decision's release, corporate interests have been rigging the system against workers for decades, but I got news for the billionaires. Behind this case, we're not going anywhere. And right on, sister, because we ain't going anywhere. We're sticking with the union. I got one more thing I want to say. You know about Donald Trump's sexist and racist taunts against her, and that's because she really gets under his skin, because what she says in 5 words is much more important than what he blathers in tweet after tweet after tweet. But the last thing I'll say is this. Senator Warren is one of those people who we don't go in just to lobby. When we can't figure something out on issues of finance, on student debt, we call our friend Elizabeth. We call our friend Senator Warren. We go into, I try to see her in her office to get some advice. That's what I mean when I say she walks our walk, she works with us, she's there day and night, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Wow, hello AFT, wow. Hello teachers, hello nurses, I am so glad to see you. I am so happy to be in a room full of some of the strongest, hardest working, most dedicated people in this country. Public school teachers, thank you. And let's hear it for the dedicated members of their communities in community hospitals, in nursing homes, and across the country, the AFT nurses and health professionals. Thank you. Thanks for all you do. You know, you all have to understand, I never thought I would end up in politics, not in a million years. But when I ran for office, I quickly found out that no one does this alone. I learned that to be effective, it's critical to have allies who know how to get the job done. So I want to give a very special shout out to my partner and to my friend who is fearless, who is determined, who is smart, and who fights every day for the future of America's children. Your president, Randy Weingarten. Randy, thank you. I'm grateful for your friendship. I'm grateful for your strong leadership of the AFT for 10 years now. You know, the mark that a teacher makes on a child's life runs deep. I grew up in a family that didn't have much, and school was my haven. Even today, all these years later, I can still remember Mrs. Lee's classroom at Woodrow Wilson Elementary School in Norman, Oklahoma. Do I have my Okies out there? Good. You know, I really could right now. I could describe the sunny room. I could tell you what the posters were on the wall, the shiny wood desks. But it was Mrs. Lee who made that classroom come alive. I remember her gravelly voice, her smell, her smile. She was special. And I did my very best for Mrs. Lee. And so I wanted to be there with her, and I wanted to do everything she wanted me to do. Reading, arithmetic, art, science. If she thought it was a good idea, I thought it was a good idea. And I still remember the day Mrs. Lee took me aside and explained that if I worked hard, I could become a teacher too. Bang, she had me, a teacher. Those were the words that changed my life. No one had ever told me that I could do anything. But when Mrs. Lee said, "Yes, Miss Betsy, you can," I never saw myself the same way again. Now, I just want you all to know, I started practicing early. I used to line my dollies up to teach them. I was tough, but fair. I don't think you did your homework last night. You know, I was always on them, but I was good. And look, my path was full of bumps and twists and turns, but I never gave up on the dream of becoming a teacher. My first job out of college was teaching special needs kids in a public elementary school. Yeah. And this is how I see the world. Today, I stand here as the daughter of a janitor who became a public school teacher, a professor, and a United States Senator because America invested in educating kids like me and invested in teachers like Mrs. Lee. That's what it's about. Yeah. And that's why I'm here today. I am grateful to that America. I believe in that America. But I am scared. Scared that our children and our grandchildren may never know that America. You know, let's be honest. Today, millions of American teachers are getting crushed. Too many teachers are teaching and working another job or two or even three before school and after school just to make ends meet. Too many teachers are spending their own money just to provide basic tools for their students. Too many teachers are drowning in student loan debt. Too many teachers are struggling to teach their kids on shoestring budgets and insulting salaries. And too many students, Black and brown students, students with special needs, students learning English, gifted students, students sitting in the back row in big classrooms, students who get overlooked, students who need those resources and support are being robbed of the life opportunities because we have failed to invest in education in America. Yeah. America is failing our teachers, and when we fail our teachers, we fail our students, and we fail our future. This is a time of crisis, and a crisis for America's teachers is a crisis for America. Even so, I come to you today with a heart full of hope. Here's what gets me out of bed every morning, ready to fight. People are no longer silent. Across this country, educators are rising up, speaking out, and fighting for the future of this country. Yeah. From West Virginia to Oklahoma to Kentucky to Colorado, Arizona, teachers are rising up with a simple message: enough is enough. You bet. Courageous women and men are staging walkouts, occupying state houses, and making their voices heard. And guess what? They are winning. They are winning. They are telling state legislatures and governors our teachers deserve better. Our kids deserve better. We stand shoulder to shoulder because we know how important these fights are. I know that the teachers in this room won't stop fighting until our children and this nation come out on top. Yeah. Teachers are fighting for our education system and winning, but that's not all they're doing. Teachers and nurses are also making their voices heard in the fight for the very soul of our democracy. Yep. Those fights are possible only because of unions like the AFT. Make no mistake, unions built America's middle class, and unions will rebuild America's middle class. Yeah. There is a reawakening of the labor movement, and it's sweeping all over this nation. So why unions? Why join with others? Why pay union dues? Here's why. Because if we want to win, we need to act together. We need our unions. Understand, right now we are up against powerful forces. We're up against billionaires and giant corporations that understand that if they spend some money lobbying and maybe a few public ad campaigns, they can get richer. They can pay less in taxes. They can cut special deals with Congress or state legislatures. They can bend the rules so everyone else picks up the bill. And shoot, if those cuts and twists mean there's not enough money to educate our children, or that young people graduate from college drowning in student loan debt, or that no teacher gets a chance to buy a home or build a retirement, hey, their view is, so be it. If everyone else gets thrown under the bus, our kids, our teachers, our families, it's of no consequence to them, just so long as they get richer. And boy, have we watched that happen over and over and over. Throw everyone else under the bus. But here's the deal. They have more money than we do, and they have more concentrated power than we do. But there's a whole lot more of us than there is of them. You bet. And that's the deal. In a democracy, when we fight back, we can win. That's what this is about. But when we're up against organized, concentrated power, we need to be effective. And that means we need to stick together. And that's what unions do for us. Unions fight for fair pay. Unions fight for good benefits. Unions fight for a decent retirement. But unions also take their fights far beyond local school boards. Unions fight to protect programs that help their workers build a future. Unions fight to reduce student loans. Unions fight to protect health care for millions of children and adults across this country. And unions fight to treat every human being with decency and respect. Yeah. Unions give their members a voice in their workplaces, a voice in their communities, and a booming voice in all corners of democratic life. Through our unions, we raise our voices strong and proud, and that's why I wanted to be here today. You bet. Yep. Now, as a candidate, Donald Trump talked a good game when it came to working people. And I want to quote him. I actually want to quote him on this. Here we go. The American worker will finally have a president who will protect them and fight for them. Working people. Yeah, well, that turned out to be a bold-faced lie. Once he was elected, President Trump launched an all-out war on unions and on the workers who will have no strong voice without their unions. Why? Why attack unions? I'll tell you why. Because our country was founded on a core principle: government of the people, by the people, for the people. Unions demand that our government live up to those principles every single day. Yeah. Unions demand accountability, and Donald Trump and his rich and powerful buddies just can't stand it. For 40 years, billionaires and corporate executives have had one mission: kill the unions. And Donald Trump has joined right in. The Koch brothers and the Bradleys partnered with Mitch McConnell to steal a Supreme Court seat. And then Donald Trump delivered exactly what they wanted: a union-busting Supreme Court justice. Trump didn't name someone who would stand up for working people the way he promised. Trump didn't name someone who would help the unions, or even someone who would just leave the unions alone. No, Trump's nominee was the deciding vote in the Janus case, which is the latest attempt to break the backs of the unions. There's another reason Donald Trump has been fighting the unions since he was sworn into office. Union members are strong. They speak out. They don't sit down and shut up. Or, to say it another way, nevertheless, we persist. And that is what we need now. As this administration wages an all-out attack on our democracy, your voices are needed now more than ever. You all have been on the front lines fighting to lift the voice of the American people over the chaos of this administration. You took to the streets during the Women's March, the greatest protest rally in the history of the world. You did it. You showed up at airports to protest President Trump's racist Muslim ban. You did. You stormed the halls of Congress to help save the Affordable Care Act. You taught our students how to call out bigotry when hate was in the headlines after Charlottesville. You led the fight against Betsy DeVos and her radical anti-public school agenda. You stood with the kids from Parkland and said, our communities should not be war zones. You called BS. You have said loud and clear that the American government should not separate desperate mothers from their children. And while the Trump administration and the Supreme Court have mercilessly attacked unions, you have stood strong with your brothers and sisters across the labor movement, and you have fought back. Yes, you have. You are in all of these fights, and I am proud to fight shoulder to shoulder alongside you. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I can't. This fight is going to be an uphill battle. We saw that last month when the Supreme Court sided with union busters over workers in AFSCME versus Janus. We have a fight on our hands, a huge fight, an historic fight. Billionaires and corporate CEOs want to rig the system even more in their favor, and they want to turn back the clock on decades of progress in this country. And this Supreme Court nomination that's pending shows us again that this is going to be the fight of our lives. But we've got a message for them. Our country is not for sale. Yeah. Because no matter how deep their pockets may run, we are not going anywhere. We're going to keep raising our voices. We're going to raise our voices for teachers. We're going to raise our voices for nurses. We're going to raise our voices for students. We're going to raise our voices for unions. We're going to raise our voices for democracy. That's what we're going to do. You bet. You ready to do this? Yeah. Yeah. And here's the deal. Stay on your feet, because while we raise our voices, we're going to organize like we have never organized before. You bet. Look out, because here we come. We'll be at state houses. We'll be at courthouses. We'll be at hospitals. We'll be at job sites. We'll organize the fight for working people across America. We'll register the voters. We'll bring in everyone off the sidelines. And come November 6th, we will vote to save this democracy. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to do this. You bet. You bet.
Elizabeth Warren! No, stay with me. Stay. So, okay, you are really tall. No. So, this is, if I can find my introduction, I don't know where I just put it.
I can help.
Oh, good. So, this is Claudio Gonzales. And as we saw earlier, you're going to see, in between business, a whole bunch of our activists come up on this stage and tell their stories. You saw it for those who were still here at the end of the last session. Teacher leader, someone who's been involved in the teacher leader program, somebody who's been involved in the Pittsburgh Recommitment program. And now this, I guess I have to be really careful, this wonderful young man who has an amazing story to tell. But we have been organizing graduate workers. They're not just students. They actually are, with adjuncts, the backbone these days of so many of our colleges and universities. They do a lot of the teaching, a lot of the support, a lot of the research, and as you can imagine, they don't get either paid enough or the security they need. But Claudio is one of those amazing activists, and he has a story that you will want to hear. Thank you, Claudio.
Can I bend this up?
Yes. You can do whatever you want.
Okay, no, it's good. All right, thank you. Buenas tardes, compañeros. Me llamo Claudio Jacobo Gómez González, and I'm a graduate worker at the University of Chicago. I'm also co-president of GSU, the union that overwhelmingly voted union yes last October, more than 2-1. Before we start, actually, you all like unions, right? My union would love, the university still won't bargain with us. We would love some solidarity right now. So I'm a millennial. I'm going to take a quick selfie. Let's just do this real fast. Fabulous. Y'all are great. So at the end of last year, the House passed a tax bill that Trump assured us would help working people. Now, my base salary as a grad employee is about $28,000. I pay $2,200 in taxes. But under the House GOP tax plan, tuition assistance becomes taxable. So money I never see gets figured into my gross income. Now, all told, I'd get taxed as someone making $98,000 a year. So my tax bill would skyrocket to $15,000, which is more than half my salary. I'm a mathematician, trust me. Now, I already live frugally. These aren't my shoes. I cut my own hair. I don't go to the doctor because I'm afraid of the medical bills. In one form or another, I've worked at least 2 jobs the entire time that I've been in school. Right now, I'm working 3. And while this tax plan ended up being replaced by another that didn't target grad assistance, that precariousness of higher education remains. It structurally defines who can even think about graduate school in the first place. And universities across the nation have allied with Trump to block grad workers like me from unionizing. Some have even threatened international students could be deported for union activity. That ain't right. These are the people who argued in court. They're not teaching. They're not working, they're teaching. They are afraid collective bargaining will destroy the relationship of gracious benefactor and grateful recipient. But that's why my tuition assistance exists, for the GOP to tax it in the first place, so the university can pretend it invests $500,000 per grad, erase our essential labor, and argue that we should be thankful for what we get. This is a national narrative that human rights, like healthcare and like education, are gifts handed out by corporations. This lie keeps a small elite in power at the cost of working people. But we'll not accept that. GSU will win recognition and a fair contract. We will redefine education as a right for all people, and organized labor will build a better future. Thank you very much.
Told you. So, I want that selfie. So, look, we've talked in the last 3 weeks, not just the last 3 days, about the implications of the Janus case, what it means in terms of our membership, our power, for the labor movement, working people, what it will mean for American democracy. And there are 3 people I want to bring up now as we introduce one of the first resolutions on, from one of our collective bargaining and other committees, who really have been in the trenches on all of this. We know the Janus decision is just the latest in the attacks on working people by wealthy corporations and the billionaires that back the case. The only question now is, how do we go forward? And that starts, as we have talked about, with member engagement, which is how we build our union and we grow our power. And I'm not going to repeat anything that I said yesterday. What I'm going to ask is for Andy Pilata, Jeff Atkins-Dutrow, and Jessica Tang to come up, because they will start us on this conversation. And maybe you know them, maybe you don't. Andy is the elected president of NYSUT, the New York State United Teachers. I guess New York is in the house. Andy cut his teeth on politics, but that gave him a clear understanding of the value of organizing and the power of one-to-one contacts and one-to-one contact with our members. And NYSUT is a pretty big organization, and it's hard to do huge transformational changes. But he envisioned something he calls the MOI, the Member Organizing Institute. Did I say it with enough New Yorker? And this institute has prepared many NYSUT members, door knocking, talking about our values and the art of one-to-one conversations. And he will tell you just how incredible their Recommit campaign has been. And then after Andy will be Jeff Atkins-Dutrow. Now, Jeff, okay, I don't want anybody to laugh, because there really is a Peoria, Illinois. And Jeff Atkins has taught in Peoria for 24 years and is our union leader of the Peoria Federation of Teachers. Now, I met him because Peoria has gotten an Innovation Fund award or grant, and they were one of the first pathway programs to help ensure that high school career tech ed students would be able to get jobs in the community. And in fact, the day that the month Donald Trump was sworn in, the Republican mayor of Peoria gave our union, I'm going to say it again, the Republican mayor of Peoria gave our union an award and a recognition for the work that Jeff and the Peoria Federation of Teachers have done to ensure student success. Now that also happens because Jeff is part of the Peoria People's Project. They connect members with social service agencies, and they too understood the importance of one-to-one contact with our members, and he'll tell that story. And the last person I want to introduce, who was just up here before, she's doing a lot of FaceTime up here because of the work that the Boston Teachers Union is doing. Jessica Tang was the affiliate's first director of organizing, and Jessica has figured out and understands intimately the connection between social justice, education professionalism, and workers' rights. And what that has created is that the BTU's Recommitment campaign now has a 91% recard rate. Let's welcome these three leaders who have transformed our union.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Randy, for this opportunity to talk about what work we have been doing in New York. You've heard so much about Janice already and what it means for the labor movement. Make no mistake, this case poses a grave threat to unions and their ability to advocate for not only our members, but for the economic justice that benefits all Americans. But I stand here today, post-Janice decision, and I'm filled not just with hope, but with optimism. I'm filled with excitement, and I'll tell you why. A year and a half ago, NYSET launched a campaign to reconnect with our rank and file, making internal organizing our highest priority. We place person-to-person contact, relationship building at the heart of all we do. We set a goal to have one-to-one conversations and have a new membership card signed by every NYSET member, with a goal of 100% of cards signed by this coming September. I'm happy to report that as of today, 85% of our members have re-signed the card. And to give you a scale, a sense of scale, that's over 200,000 new membership cards. In addition to the one-to-one project last year, we also launched the NYSET Member Organizing Institute, the MOI or the MOI, depending on where you're from in the state. To date, we've trained over 500 members to visit with our members in their homes and talk about union values and being a member of our union. Our staff are knocking on doors too. Everyone is an organizer. We've knocked on over 100,000 doors since the program began, and this summer, they'll be out in full force around the state, speaking to every last member and warning them about the union busters and this decision. This program would not have been possible without the tremendous support of the AFT. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, what has happened since the decision 2.5 weeks ago? The Mackinac Center, funded by Betsy DeVos and her friends and family, right, Betsy DeVos, and they sent thousands of emails to our members across New York State. Those emails encouraged our members to quit the union. Truth be told, in the last couple of weeks, 9 members have withdrawn from the union. But I should also mention, since the decision, over 9,000 members have recommitted and signed new cards. So sorry, Betsy, your plan did not work. Now I'm going to say something slightly controversial. No. Yeah, here we go. I recently had an epiphany. This Janus decision is going to be a good thing for us. Now, before you start thinking Andy is a crazy person, let me explain. All of this work we've been doing, all of this organizing, all of this relationship building is because of these cases. We're getting back to our roots. Organizing isn't new. Al Shanker met with educators at their kitchen tables. They talked about what mattered to them and their families, our shared values. But over the last few decades, as a movement, maybe we put organizing on the back burner. We stopped talking all the time to our members. Now Janus makes us look at things the way it used to be. Going forward, if we don't talk to our members, then we won't have a union. NYSET and the AFT, we're doing the work together. This work is so empowering for me personally, for our staff, and for other members. I'd like to read to you a social media post written by one of our member organizers after she visited another one of our members in their homes. This evening, I spoke with a woman who told me that her fears regarding the state of our country and the fear of losing collective bargaining rights and her pension kept her awake at night. We both teared up. It was very emotional. I believe that contacting her about how she could help was a relief for her. It made me feel useful too, and also felt like a relief to others. This human connection is what it's all about. In closing, I'd like to say this. Betsy and the Freedom Foundation and their cronies, they have a plan. Their plan is to distract us. They want us to be so busy trying to retain our membership that we take our eye off the ball on the political front. But they don't get it. Our members are seeing what real power is, and it comes from an engaged and active group of individuals fighting for shared values. Because of this investment in organizing, now more than ever, our members see themselves in our advocacy and want to participate. Oh, and they also are waiting to vote. So, if I could look the Koch brothers, the State Policy Network, Betsy DeVos in the eyes right now, I tell them one thing. Bring it on! Our members are sticking with the union, and we won't be ashamed of how powerful we are. That power is earned. Our contracts were earned. They were earned by the blood, sweat, and tears of organizing and our predecessors. And so we organize again. Thank you. You're funny. Vote in November. I'd like to now introduce another brother in crime, Jeff Atkins Dutro, president of Peoria Federation of Teachers.
Good afternoon, AFT. Thank you, Randy, for inviting me to speak. Thank you all for having me. I'd also like to thank our members and leadership as I reflect here today on some of the absolutely critical work they have done. I ran for union president 5 years ago. I dressed up like a knight and ran a campaign called Slay the Beast, meaning slay the bloated anti-teacher bureaucracy that had taken over our schools. And I looked like a total jackass. And I'm not saying I look that much better standing up here now. Nevertheless, I won. It's 5 years later. Here I am. I suspect the victory had little to do with my costume and much to do with the message that the experts, the classroom teachers, should have a voice in our district and in our city. In fact, we should have the lead voice in our district and in our city and in our nation. 5 years ago, my union world was limited to the inner workings of our union and our district. It was about this time I got a call from Jackson Potter at the Chicago Teachers Union. And I thought, damn, they're powerful enough to shut down the entire city of Chicago. Why are they calling me? But Jackson explained that to have statewide power, that power has to actually be statewide. It can't be centralized and strong in one area and weak in others. Enter Peoria. Jackson was calling not only to join forces, but to help us build power and influence so TTU would be joining forces with a force. For a long time, AFT and IFT have been pushing unions to shift from the business model to the organizing model, and they've provided us abundant resources to make that transition. When our union decided to make the shift, to organize, to join forces, to build power, all we had to do was reach out. All the resources were at our fingertips. Last summer, with the backing of AFT, IFT, Grassroots Collaborative, and CTU, we emulated CTU's summer organizing internship program. Our interns as well went door to door to our members' houses, asked them to re-sign their union card, asked them to recommit to our union, to become active, and to vote. Sounds familiar, yes? As I stand here today, Peoria interns who just returned from training at CTU are knocking doors with the membership of organizers from IFT and AFT. Our summer effort carried over to the school year, where our building reps and our contract action team successfully recarded and recommitted 95% of our PFT members. The momentum from summer carried over in other ways as well. During our contract campaign, with only a few days' notice, of our 950 members, we were able to rally 500 of those members at our administration building. Several years ago, we joined AROS, Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools. At that time, we joined the nation by participating in our first walk-in, one of the first AROS actions. We had one school. PFT Sister Val Ray, who is in the room today, helped organize the walk-in at Valeska Hinton Early Childhood Development Center. At the end of this school year, while negotiating a contract and in the midst of the inevitable Janus decision, we had walk-ins on the last day of the school year. 96% of our schools participated. When the Janus decision hit, and like with all the other unions, the anti-union emails started rolling in, we were able to have our members say, "I'm sticking with my union, don't contact me again." The language, of course, was much more colorful, but I did not bring any money for Randy's swear jar, so we'll leave it at that. With the IFT and AFT and your local and state federations, we have the infrastructure and the resources at our fingertips. For any unions in the process of building power, all you have to do is be willing to reach out and follow the progressive models that work. Every union has natural-born organizers. All you have to do is identify them and ask them to step up. And as our brother said, and I agree with him, we all need to become organizers. The organizers have made the difference for the PFT. We must also infiltrate, start a union-led teacher academy, take over the teacher mentor programs, start a union-led GYO program, and don't become part of the district's fabric, but be that fabric. As part of the AFT and IFT-funded Peoria People's Project, we've joined forces with the NAACP, healthcare workers, Change Peoria, and soon the trades. We want to ensure we're building power locally with union and non-union groups so we can do our part statewide and nationally. And it's up to all of us in all of our respective communities to get this done, and I'm confident that we will. Labor history shows that our union power waxes and wanes. It goes in cycles. We get strong, then we get complacent, then we get beaten down amid our complacency, then we rise up and become strong again. History also shows that when very few get control of all of the money and power, those being exploited, the majority rise up and chop off the king's head. To bring my corny election costume full circle here, with the Janus decision, we have quite a beast to slay, but the cards have been thrown on the table. The fight has become explicit. It's at the forefront. We all know what it is. We've all been called out. We all will fight, and we will win. And I ask that as we slay the beast, we don a progressive sword. I like what Alexandria Cortez said when she said we must have political courage. For too long, we have voted for people we think will win rather than people we think who are right. So I thank you. We are AFT. We care, we fight, we show up, we vote, and it is now my honor to bring up Jessica Tang from the Boston Teachers Union.
Good afternoon, AFT. We at the Boston Teachers Union are proud to have ramped up our membership engagement work over the last year and to build upon the work our educators have been pursuing in our union, our schools, and our community. And in addition to continuing the work at our school sites through our faculty senates, organizing committees, building rep and building rep regional leaders networks, we embarked on a recommitment card campaign. We wanted to make sure that all of our members know who we are, what we stand for as a union, that we are building power for students, our schools, and our educators. We wanted to make sure that BTU members know that our collective action and power matter. And we came up with an acronym for what power we are building for. P stands for professional growth and expertise. O is for organizing with our students and families. W is workers' rights and labor solidarity. E, equity and inclusion and social justice. R, respect for our union and for our profession. And we brought this message everywhere we went. At the New Teachers Institute, our fall leadership conference, at our organizing committee meetings, our PD sessions. We launched a listening tour where we committed to visiting all 125 of our public schools to hear from our members about what the challenges and issues were, but also what our members are proud of and what was going well. We asked our members what they cared about and shared how we are engaged in the work they care about and how they could get even more involved and get support for the issues they're most passionate about. Sometimes our members just didn't know about the awesome work that we were already leading, and when they heard about it, it reaffirmed their commitment to who we are and what we are about and why their participation mattered. For example, we are fighting for full funding for special education students and inclusion practices that work, adequate staffing, healthcare, ELs, restorative practices, social emotional learning, and hub community schools. And we are also fighting for our undocumented students through our Unafraid Educators Committee. We started a new Puerto Rican educators group, a Haitian educators committee, and we're standing up against racism and making sure that our students know that Black Lives Matter, everyone is welcome here, and that love is love. Our message was, we are doing awesome work. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of the Boston Teachers Union? And it was all hands on deck for our recommitment campaign. And by the end of June, we are proud to share that we have close to 95% of our members recommitted. And that the first week of summer break, we held an organizing institute so our new activists could help us knock on doors to reach our goal of 100% by the end of this summer. And as a testament to our work, we're also proud to share that 3 Commonwealth charter schools voted to join our union this past April. It's about who we are, what we stand for, and what we do. It's about taking the time to have the organizing conversations with each of our members too. At the BTU, we call this campaign our all-in campaign. So when we say BTU, our members say, BTU. Now we know we're not the only BTU, although we may have been the first BTU. So Broward, Baltimore, and all the other BTUs out there, this should be easy for you to join in. BTU. But our work is not just about the BTU. It's about the whole AFT. So can we give this a try? When I say AFT, can you say all in? AFT? All in. Can't hear you. AFT? All in. Let's make sure that DeVos, the Koch brothers, and anyone else trying to defeat us know that they can't stop us. AFT. Thank you.
Okay, so they are not the only leaders and activists that have been doing this work around the country. I've seen a lot of it. I want you in this hall to hear it and to see it. It is incredible. So let's start with Mike 1.
Hello, brothers and sisters. My name is Sam Burnett. I'm the local president of Montague County American Federation of Teachers and a proud member of the AFT West Virginia Executive Board. During the strike, a lot of sticks and stones were thrown our way. Well, we picked them up and we threw them back. When Senate President Mitch Carmichael tried to shame us by saying the strike was starving our students, we had already organized food banks and distribution centers to feed our kids. When Republicans said our grassroots strike was an elaborate ploy by union bosses and thugs, we owned it. We made T-shirts and chanted by the thousands in the Capitol, "Who's the union bosses? We're the union bosses," because it's our damn union. And when Governor Jim Justice offered us a 2% pay raise and said, there's a reason, you would have to be a dumb bunny not to take this deal. The next day, hundreds of teachers showed up at the Capitol wearing bunny ears, saying, "Hell no, we're not going to take your deal," and chanted 55 United at both chamber doors. We ended up with 5%, not just for teachers, but for every public employee in West Virginia.
Microphone 2.
Hello, I'm Susan Solomon, United Educators of San Francisco, Local 61. Last month, San Francisco voters passed our Living Wage for Educators Act by over 60% to address the affordability crisis in our city. This means $50 million per year for 20 years for us. Starting this year, our certificated and classified members will see a 7% raise, improved health care benefits, professional development, and $3 million for community schools. When we work with parents and community, and when we vote, we win.
Microphone 3.
Right on. Michael Mulgrew, President, United Federation of Teachers, Local 2 of New York City. Thank you. I am proud to stand here today on this floor with all my brothers and sisters who have struggled greatly, who have been told of our impending demise for over a year in the media, and saying to you all that we are alive and well and we are ready for our fight. United Federation of Teachers has embarked on a campaign, and we now have over 8,000 new union activists who have formed ambassador teams in each and every work site in New York City. And less than a week before the Janus decision, the teachers of New York City won the right, after 58 years, that we now have 6 weeks of full paid time for everyone who brings a child into their home. And Madam President, I will say to you, to the largest local, the largest union local on the planet, that we are now at our highest percentage ever of representation of our workforce. The UFT is now at 99.27% full membership. Thank you very much.
Microphone What? Microphone 4. I told you this is amazing.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I won't say it's my home local.
Andrea Vasquez, Professional Staff Congress, City University of New York. With a bargaining unit of 30,000, thanks to member activism, we now have a full-time membership of 96%. In the 2 weeks since the Janus case, over 525 have either joined or recommitted. And how many have taken steps to withdraw? 2. I am so proud of our fearless union. Our member activism is on the rise. We are ready to struggle. We are ready to win demands. We have won so many in the past, including that paid parental leave. We are fighting for better wages, better working conditions for our faculty, staff, and adjunct faculty. And so we are ready for this fight, organized on every campus. Thank you so much.
Microphone 5.
Good afternoon, hermanos y hermanas. My name is Carla Hernandez Matz, and I am president of 1974. I want to give a shout out to my local union because UTD met and exceeded every single organizing goal that we made for ourselves this year. You see, when our state legislature and our governor came after us and tried to decertify our union, we came out in full gear and recruited 3,208 new members and told our state legislature to kiss our... Just in case. Thank you.
Okay, you know how much money would have been in the swear jar if she had actually said that word? Microphone 6.
I'm Rick Lucas with the Ohio Nurses Association.
We need the mic.
Is it on? I'm Rick Lucas with the Ohio Nurses Association, proud AFT Local 5903. I'm first vice president of the Ohio State University Nurses Organization, AFT's largest healthcare local. We were able to recommit over 3,000 members since January. We've recruited 100 additional activists. And through our activism and issue-based campaigns, we've been able to achieve benchmark staffing with a projected growth in our membership of over 500 members over the next 12 months. We've experienced increased visibility at the local level, state and national, for our work. We achieve this because we fight, we care, and we show up. And we're sticking with our union.
Microphone 7.
I'm Billy from Pittsburgh.
I'm Jackie Lansdale. I'm president of the Red River United in Shreveport, Louisiana, Local 4995. We started out as a PEG, a professional educators group. We are now the largest organization in our state. We are probably one of the most successful PEG experiments ever embarked by the American Federation of Teachers. We do this in a right-to-work state. We do this even though we have many differences. We represent 3 different parishes at Red River United, one for Hillary, one for Trump, and one split right down the middle. And we know we have differences, but we know that we engage our members on the things that are really important to all of us, our joint humanity. We know that we work together for pay raises. We just brought that forward. We know that we do things as simple as filling a pinch at St. Patrick's and feeling the love for public education on Valentine's Day, to being as a weighty issue as joining with our friends in West Virginia and Oklahoma and all the other states that we saw teachers walk out, that you'll be seeing Louisiana join within that force before the end of this next school year. I guarantee it.
Microphone 8.
My name is David Ciccarella. I'm the president of the New Haven Federation of Teachers, Local 933 in Connecticut. Our members are furious over the Janus decision and the right-wing attempt to break our union. But I'm proud to report that New Haven teachers have overwhelmingly recommitted and signed new membership cards. We are at almost 100% recommitment, and we expect to reach 100% within the next few weeks. New Haven teachers are sticking with our union. Thank you.
Now, I still see a lot of mics. I know we're going to go on to protest shortly, but I think it's important to go through another round since I see another, all the lights on. Are you with me on this? Microphone one.
My name is Tony Johnston, and I'm the proud president of Cook County College Teachers Union, Local 1600. We are over 4,000 strong. We represent full and part-time faculty and staff in the Chicagoland area. We are a federated local with 23 chapters. After our year-long recommit and recard campaign, we now have 8 chapters at 100% recommitted, 3 at 90%, and 6 at 80%. As a local, we have a recommitment currently of 85% of our members, and that will only go higher. We have recommitted at least over 500 new members over the past year. This campaign has made us stronger, ready for the fights ahead, and not only are we sticking to the union, but as we say in the Illinois Federation of Teachers, we are committed to the union. Thank you.
Microphone two.
I am Ed Levy, president of the State Vocational Federation of Teachers in Connecticut. We have 1,218 members and 0 deadbeat freeloaders. 1,201 of our members have already signed recommitment cards. We used AFT Connecticut's training on member organizing that helped our members learn how to talk to each other about why their union means so much to them. We spoke to them in the buildings, and when we couldn't talk to them in the work site, we went to their houses and had the conversations there. We talked to them about why the U and I in union means something in Connecticut. And when new teachers come in, we have our member organizers greet them, talk to them, hand them a card, because we're union schools.
Microphone three.
Wayne Spence, president of PEF. Madam President, after 3 years and 8%, 2 contracts with 8%, I want to report that we have 96% membership in PEF right now. Since Janus has dropped, 200 to 1 people are recommitting to the union instead of leaving the union. So guess what? Janus can go kick rocks because New York rocks.
Microphone four.
Good afternoon, Madam President. Kevin Dalton, president of the Toledo Federation of Teachers, almost 3,000 strong. I am happy to let you know that challenges are not new to Toledo, and when we see challenges, we galvanize, we organize, and we mobilize. That mobilization has led to 3 successful levy passages to bring stability back to the financial picture of the district. We not only use that mobilization to bring money to the district, we use the mobilization to secure contracts, restore concessions, and propel our educators to be the top 3rd paid educators within our region. That's the first time in 15 years that has happened. We've also taken this opportunity with Janus, with the imminent decision to reach out to the membership, and within less than 4 weeks, 100% recommitted. It was more than a recommitment, it was a message. We're standing with the union, and anyone that wants to attack our members or the people we serve will be faced with that kind of vigilance. Thank you.
Microphone 5.
Good afternoon, AAFT. I am Jackie Anderson, proud Secretary-Treasurer of the Houston Federation of Teachers. Even after the devastation of Hurricane Harvey, we have our highest membership numbers in the past 5 years. The storm did not stop us. It helped us, and our union is Houston strong. Our newly formed Leadership Academy has developed new leaders and has put the U in union. This unity has empowered us, and we got our members elected to the District Advisory Committee, where we are the majority. As well, we won a super majority on our school board. We're sticking with our union. We are HFT, we are Houston proud, we are AFT proud, union proud. We care, we fight, we show up, and we vote.
Woo. Microphone 6.
Good afternoon, AFT. I am proudly Milena Worth from Oregon School Employees Association, Local 6732 from the beautiful state of Oregon. Woo! In November, OSCA held a leadership summit we called All In. Our chapters were brought together to collaborate, celebrate, and prepare for this local membership drive at every site. We were reminded by our first female president, Pat Guest, of where we came from, the challenges that they overcame, those that are presented before us now. But we are all in to this fight, and we're going to win. Every month, our President Stell, he updated us on membership and the members as those numbers came in since June, and we have increased by 3,700 members. A little over 1,700 cards have been signed, and at this time, I just heard it from the press, our President Stell reports, we are at almost over 17,000 members at OSCA. We will continue to educate, to organize, and to mobilize. Thank you, AFT.
Microphone 7.
Yolanda Tamayo, first-time delegate from California, United Teachers, Los Angeles, Local 1021. In 3.5 months, 75% of our 33,000 plus members have signed recommitment cards despite the Janus decision a couple of weeks ago. And on May 24th, 12,000 of our members took over downtown Los Angeles to demand respect for our bargaining proposals to continue fighting for the schools LA students deserve.
Thank you, microphone 7. Microphone 8.
Yes, Bob Russo, Local 6025, AFT, Montclair State University. I'm a teacher who was arrested in 1970 in jail for 15 days for the Newark teacher strike. A proud arrested teacher with the Albert Shanker inspiration. Bayard Rustin there to support us. Here's what I'm telling you before I turn this over to Amanda, is that I've been elected 5 times as council member in Montclair, New Jersey, and as mayor once. Because I say I have been an arrested teacher. I'm a progressive Democrat. The people of Montclair have elected me. Let's not shun that identity. Let's elect people who are progressives, and let's fight for governors like Phil Murphy that we just elected in New Jersey, who was both endorsed by the AFT and NEA. Thank you. Amanda?
Amanda Curtis, Butte Teachers Union, Local 332. Brothers and sisters in Montana, we have increased our union membership by 30%. That's 30. You want to know how we did it? We merged. Right now in the state of Montana, 1 in 40 Montanans is a member of the AFT. expect to have 20 union members serving in the Montana State Legislature in the next session. Woo! And not only that, but we picked a fabulous name, the Montana Federation of Public Employees. So any of those privatizers and profiteers who want to mess with us better think twice before messing with those MFing public employees.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Samantha Rosado Ciriello, and I'm a first-year president of the Yonkers Federation of Teachers in New York. The Yonkers Federation of Teachers is a proud union of close to 3,000 active and retiree members, and between January and June, we recommitted 100% of our members. And I know the program's going on, but I am so proud of my folks. We created a Janus committee. They've gone out to every single school, and they created an army of teachers to go out there. And when we were facing almost 300 layoffs, and the mayor of our city and the governor said teachers need to give back, we say we give back every day. What are you doing for us? So I'll leave you with proud to be YFT. Where's my folks? Proud to be. Woo!
So, I see 2 more mics. Is this on this issue? So, may I ask for a personal, I don't have the parliamentarian here. We can do this all afternoon, and it is so cool to do. I'm just asking that we do this one last piece and start marching, if we can, because the community groups are outside, and we want to do the work of our member engagement as well as the work of community work. So if it's on this issue, I promise sometime tomorrow we will have your stories on the floor. Is that okay? Is that okay? Or is this on some? So let me do that. Clear the mics. Make sure you are drinking water. You know, Karen Lewis does call me mommy sometimes. Make sure you're drinking water. Make sure you're wearing this or making sure it's there with you. And we have one more presentation we would like to do right now. Are you? Yeah.
February 14th, 2018. At Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, 14 students and 3 educators lost their lives and more were injured. While many of our union colleagues from Stoneman Douglas heroically put their lives on the line that day, it is just as inspiring to see them continue to protect and stand up for their students today. From vigils and marches to voter registration drives, Stoneman Douglas educators are helping students stand up for themselves. Additionally, your AFT Executive Council passed a resolution with a plan to address America's gun violence epidemic. We also engaged with Wells Fargo on its role in financing the NRA and gun manufacturers, and issued them an ultimatum. They can have a mortgage market that includes members of the AFT, or they can continue to do business with the NRA and gun manufacturers. But they cannot do both. The AFT released a special edition of our Ranking Asset Managers report solely focused on gun manufacturers and those who own them. We created a watch list of investment managers that invest millions of dollars in companies that make assault weapons. Randy called for the formation of an AFT gun violence prevention advisory group from all 5 divisions, and 9 of them are with us here today at the convention. Together, we all have a role we can play in making our schools and communities safe from gun violence. So now, I'd like to welcome Marjorie Stoneman Douglas educators, Greg Pittman and Diana Haneski, to the stage with me while we watch this short video.
Shots were firing and students were pouring into my class. I saw the shooter emerge from the stairwell. He was constantly shooting as he sprayed his rifle back and forth.
I had tunnel vision. I was watching him and also watching out of my peripheral all the students going into my room.
I grabbed the door handle with both hands because I wanted to make sure to pull it tight. It was then that I was grazed by a bullet. 2 of my students wanted to get in.
I knew that if I didn't open the door for them, they would have been killed. And so I opened it a crack, and Mr. Beagle, who was right next to me, the teacher who was killed, he pushed them into my classroom.
I threw myself on top of my students and held onto as many as I can sink my nails into. The shooter fired about 4 or 5 times right into my classroom through the glass panel in the door. When the SWAT team arrived, we stepped out of the classroom and saw carnage everywhere. Students screamed and cried as they looked down and saw their classmates dead on the ground. 2 of my beautiful students, who were finishing up their senior year, were brutally murdered. My heart breaks for their families. I do not know how I wasn't killed. I should have been killed. Thankful that I reacted the way I did because my students needed me to be there for them.
This should never happen in any school. No parent should have to bury their child ever. No teacher should have to be huddled in a closet with their students.
I will work the rest of my life to try to make sure that this never again happens to anyone else, because it never should.
Basically, I couldn't speak at first when this happened, but then I saw them speak and they empowered me. I said, I need to support them. I'm so proud of the way they are articulate. They research their facts. As a librarian, I'm really happy about that. I'm going to help as many people as I can, and I'm going to do the same with the message of, stop the gun violence in our schools.
I don't believe any civilian should have an assault rifle. There's just no purpose for it. It's a killing weapon. We can all agree that there's a problem right now, and we just need to stop fighting, and we need to actually get down to business.
I'm soaking that in. Thank you. Thank you. I need hugs too, if you see me. Thank you. Thank you, AFT. Thank you on behalf of our MSD Eagle teachers who have continued to teach and inspire our students to be prepared to face the challenges in our world. We remember and we get strength from our 17 fallen eagles. We are MSD strong, and we all need to be hopeful and teacher strong. Thank you very much.
Diana and are accepting an award today on behalf of our fellow teachers at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas for the courage they demonstrated on February 14th, 2018. Some of our coworkers gave their lives to defend our students, while many in harm's way were shot or injured while defending our students. I want to say that this award in courage is not only for our teachers at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, but for every teacher here in Pittsburgh today and around the country, because you place yourselves in harm's way every day without the security that you need, without the materials and the resources that you need, and without the proper pay that you deserve. You go into your classroom and you demonstrate this courage daily. It's time that all of our elected officials, beginning with our president, start to demonstrate courage to address school safety issues, properly funding schools, and the pay that you earn but are not paid. Speak up, register to vote, vote for change November 6, 2018. Thank you again.
So, I don't think it's a surprise that we would give Diana and Greg the AFT Heroes Award on behalf of themselves and all of our educators at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. They exemplify the word hero in every cell of their body.
Good afternoon, fellow educators. I'm Anna Fusco, elementary school teacher, president of the Broward Teachers Union in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It is my honor to introduce our next guest speaker, Mei Ling Ho-Ching. Mei Ling is a student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas and was there that fateful day of the school shooting, 2/14. Mei Ling began her activism by calling and leading a press conference to amplify the voices and experiences of students of color. She credits Dr. Rosalind Osgood, one of our own very Broward County Public School Board members, to give voice to radical change in gun laws and hopes to pay it forward by becoming a global social justice leader one day. And Mei Ling is one of the student leaders who helped organize the Student Gun Violence Summit. Mei Ling has spoken at several Broward Teachers Union press conferences and as well as national events, including the March of Our Lives in Washington. I'm always in awe of her ability to stay so real and grounded while she makes it her mission to keep the issue of school and gun safety forefront in the nation's mind. You see, Mei Ling thinks she has helped us, when in turn, I apologize, she feels that we have helped her when in turn she has helped us. Please join me in welcoming an awesome young lady, an incredible power to our future. Please welcome Mei Ling Ho-Ching to the stage.
Good afternoon. My name is Mei Ling Ho-Ching, and I am a rising senior at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. I would like to thank BTU President Anna Fusco for her introduction and for allowing me to stand here with my teachers. The last time we stood together, we challenged Florida Governor Rick Scott to not invest money taken from my teachers' retirement fund into gun manufacturers. Imagine investing my teachers' hard-earned time and money in the gun manufacture of an AR-15, the same gun that killed 17 of our Eagles and injured 17 more. Today, I want to talk to you about the 3 things in life you will never get back. 1, the spoken word. Recently, the nation heard the damage that the N-word can do to a company such as Papa John's when he loosely spoke the N-word on a conference call. The spoken word, we could apologize, but we cannot get that back. We demand change. Two, the spent arrow. In this case, let's call it the spent bullet. Once the trigger is pulled, it does not discriminate between race, class, gender, sexual orientation, or religion. Its main goal is to meet its target. On February 14th, Manuel Oliver, the father of my friend Joaquim, which you just saw Ms. LaPelle spoke about, lost his best friend. I have watched him grieve, and it breaks my heart every time. We demand change. Another friend, Helena Ramsey, was passionate about international affairs and was interested in the United Nations before she was murdered by AR-15. I took her spirit with me when I addressed the United Nations at the International Conference on Gun Trafficking and Control. We demand change. And finally, number 3, the missed opportunity. There is a quote by Gandhi that reads, "Be the change that you want to see." At my school, this quote is one of the last things that we see when we exit the building every day. Today, we demand change.
Yes!
We have been groomed by our teachers like Ms. Haneski, Mr. Pittman, Ms. Davis, Ms. Falkowski, Mr. Maddox, Mr. Payne, Mr. Marino, and all the other teachers at Marjory Stoneman Douglas, just to name a few. Let my voice today be multiplied by the millions of students around this country and around the world when I say, teachers, I love you. Teachers, I need you. And teachers, I thank you. Just knowing that I would be standing in front of a room full of teachers giving me the confidence to overcome my fears. I know that I have the support and encouragement of 1.7 million members of the AFT standing with me. But let's get one thing straight. My name is not David Hogg. My name is not Cameron Caskey. And my name is not Emma Gonzalez. My name is Mei Ling Ho-Ching, and I am one of 3,300 extraordinary students at Margie Stoneman Douglas, and one out of over 300 Black students at Margie Stoneman Douglas, who has risen up and joined the national debate on gun violence and school safety. My name is Mei Ling Ho-Ching, and I am one of millions of extraordinary young Americans that have given voice to injustice in schools, prisons, healthcare, gender inequality, and immigration. Just to name a few. We demand change because you taught us well. We have become the glory of our nation because you taught us to speak up and speak out. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We have before us the glorious opportunity to inject a new dimension of love in the veins of our civilization. I ask you, my teachers, to continue to stand with me and guide this youth-led movement towards necessary and radical change. The call to action is simple. Get out and vote." Yes. And encourage 8 people to join you either by going to the polls or providing the stamps for the mail-in ballot. Super simple. No big words. Vote. We demand change. From Parkland to Pakistan, from Newtown to Charleston. Now I call for a moment of silence for all of those who have lost their lives due to gun violence. Thank you, Ms. Randy, for inviting me here today, and I love you, AFT.
And we love Mei Ling, and we love our students. So we have our speaker who will rally us out, and what I would like to do is this. We have had a joy of riches in terms of people who have wanted to speak, and we want people to speak. So I want to, the next 2 days, we have just like we are fighting against gun violence and fighting for immigrants to be welcome here and fighting for Black lives, we are also fighting for investment and engaging with our communities in Pittsburgh. G2 Brown, who is the head of Journey for Justice and one of the AROS lead organizers, the Alliance to Reclaim Our Schools, is going to lead us, is going to summon us out and lead us out. Many of us know him already. But what I want to do tomorrow is start tomorrow and also on Monday at 9:15, so we have more time for business. So tomorrow is 45 minutes earlier than it would have been. It would have started at 10, but I want to start at 9:15. We do have an election on Sunday So we have to actually end so people can vote. So we need to actually start early enough on Sunday and then on Monday so we can do the business of the resolutions in the union. G2.
Sisters and brothers, good afternoon. Before I start, I want to just say thank you to a few people. The mighty Chicago Teachers Union, where you at? All right. I want to say thank you to Randy Weingarten and the AFT for always standing with us in our communities when we've had to wage fights. I'm with the Journey for Justice Alliance, national network of grassroots community-based organizations in 28 cities. I also like to say thank you to Eric Zachary for always pushing me forward, and to Jay Travis for being a strong example. Sisters and brothers, thank you for the honor of sharing with you this afternoon. I won't be long, but I promise to be strong. So here we are today. We've heard it from other people. Donald Trump is president. Betsy DeVos is education secretary. Janice is no longer the boogeyman we fear at night, but the monster is real and it's a part of our day-to-day reality. But sisters and brothers, this day has been coming for a long time. Do we understand that the corporate Democratic establishment helped to set the tone for our reality today? Can we digest that if there were no Arnie Duncan, there would be no Betsy DeVos? Arnie Duncan shot hoops, he mentored black kids, he talked civil rights while he closed our schools across the United States and caused the firing of thousands of teachers in our classrooms. And because he hung out with John Legend and Common, we didn't chase him down the street like we should have. The attack on organized labor is also an attack on the black and brown communities across the United States. In many AFT cities, Pittsburgh, DC, Detroit, Los Angeles, Chicago, Baltimore, when school privatization has taken root, along with the loss of affordable housing, we've seen the purge of black and brown people out of those cities. In 2018, in the year 2000, 53% of the population in Chicago was African American. Today, we have 32% of the population. And Donald Trump didn't close 50 schools with the swipe of a pen in Chicago. Rahm Emanuel did. Over 250,000 of my people, over 52,000 students have been purged out of the city of Chicago and many of your cities at a rate reminiscent of what they call the Great Migration, but we know was really the Great Evacuation in the early part of the 20th century. So I ask you, sisters and brothers, will we recognize that we are not just dealing with good people that are misguided? Will we recognize that we are dealing with the wolf? And the wolf will eat, the wolf will gorge himself until there's nothing else to eat. Do we understand that this wolf will gorge himself until organized fighting teacher unions and stable black and brown communities are a distant memory? Sisters and brothers, I humbly subscribe to you that our work is clear. We choose to make elected officials who we have supported over the years but have not supported us, we choose to make them pay for their treachery. They must be terrified to sell us out. We have the opportunity to make our education platform a major election issue, whether it's in the gubernatorial, state, or federal races, even local school board races. Right where you are today in Pittsburgh, 1PA and the Education Rights Network made the school board candidates adjust to a pro-public education platform, and they won the slate right here in Pittsburgh. And then what they did is they began to move forward legislation that was in the best interest of our children. So, if we make the conscious decision, community and labor, to stand together with a different type of unity, rooted in 4 things: humility, listening, validation, and consistency, then we can build the local power in our neighborhoods that make elected officials terrified to stab us in the back. So all I will say to you, sisters and brothers, is please remember this, that Janus is not a death blow. It's clarity. Just because the establishment says that we can't does not mean it is so. Jonah Edelman would Stand for Children, everybody say boo, bragged about passing legislation in Illinois that required 75% of the teachers to approve a strike. He went around the country on a tour bragging about how he broke the Chicago Teachers Union. And then the mighty CTU organized, and over 90% of their members called for a strike in 2012. In Chicago in 2015, people told us, don't fight Rahm Emanuel. Even though we knew the plan to close our last open enrollment high school was about putting the Obama Presidential Center in the middle of our community and forcing us out of the community. But 12 parents, regular brothers and sisters, stood up, fought back, and with the support of our people around the country, we won the fight to save Dyett High School, and we won a school with now $16 million in new investments. And now we're expanding sustainable community schools in the city of Chicago. I'm not saying that to boast. I'm saying that to you, sisters and brothers, before I get off this microphone, that we have to be in a moment of clarity and understand that privatizers are not our friends. Privatizers are not to be negotiated with. Privatizers have a scorched earth mentality. Their dream world is a world where you don't exist. Their dream world is a world where I don't exist, where people have communities that are stable and functioning. So if we stand together, sisters and brothers, we can build a new reality. Are y'all ready to fight? Are y'all ready to fight? Okay. I don't know. Should I test them out, Mary Catherine? Randy, should I test them out a little bit? Okay. Now, I don't know if y'all know. I got a little dusted up today because I knew I was coming to see y'all, but I don't know if y'all understand. Now, I'm a veteran chant master, but I think I still got some skills. Let me see. Let me. CTU, should I give it to them? All right. When I say union, y'all say power, union. Power. Y'all got to come better than that now. Hold on. When I say union, y'all say power. Union. Power. Union. Power. When I say union, y'all say power. Union. Power. Union. Power. When I say people, y'all say power. People. Power. People. Power. Union. Power. Union. Power. People. Power. People. Power. Who's school? Now, how am I louder than y'all? Okay. Who's school? Our school. Who's school? Our school. Who's school? Our school. Who's school? Our school. Get up off your feet. Who's school? Our school. Who's school? Our school. When I say union, y'all say power. Union. Power. Union. Power. When I say people, y'all say power. People. Power. People. Power. People.
As G2 continues with this chant, those of us who are marching, we go out the back doors, down the escalators, and we will meet the allies and our marshals. They will show you where to go. So, as G2 is leading us in the chant, let's lead us in the walk to walk
Union! Union! People! People!